Hey, this is Terrence Lauchié, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this podcast, The Growth Exchange. This podcast was designed to curate conversation, dialogue, and monologue around all things growth. I believe that everything living has the potential to grow into its fullest and most maximal potential. So let's grow. Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to the first, or one of the first, inaugural editions or episodes of The Growth Exchange. I'm Dr. Terrence Lauchié, and I'm blessed to have one of the first guests with me, good friend, brother, business partner in so many different ways, and somebody who understands growth, and that's none other than the Cisco Duncan himself, Samuel Duncan IV. Welcome, man.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. A privilege and an honor to be able to come and be on your first inaugural podcast here. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to having a great conversation.
Well, I can't think of a better person to just do a first with. And so actually, we're going to be doing these first 3 or 4 episodes, and you're one of the first. And first are always good.
Yes.
First are always good. You've been on a podcast before. Am I correct? Have you ever been on anybody's
correct.
podcast?
It's been a while, so yeah.
But we've never done this one before.
This is something new.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the exchange, and I want to say to our listening audience, just so that they will know what to expect in the upcoming episodes, the Growth Exchange is really an opportunity to experience growth, but also to discuss all things growth. I'm a firm believer that we are multidimensional, so that we've got personal growth, spiritual growth, financial growth, relational growth, emotional growth, mental growth, academic growth, but growth is the thing. And I've always heard if you're not growing, you're not living.
There you go. Yeah.
So I want to challenge listeners. I love this to be an opportunity for people to hear some curated conversations around growth and development, where people have expanded their kingdom identity beyond pulpits, beyond churches, beyond the traditions of their ecclesiastical order, perhaps, and did some things in the marketplace. I've done some things. You've written a book. We'll talk a little bit about that. But our conversation really is to explore and to provide the challenges that people need in order to overcome their own challenges, to see some triumphs as it relates to growth. So what have you been up to most recently? Let's kind of dig into a conversation about your personal growth.
Absolutely. Again, first and foremost, thank you for this opportunity to come and to share and just to have a wonderful conversation with a wonderful friend. And I do consider you, your wife, your family, friends. And so it's always an honor to be able to be in the presence of great people, right? And so I consider myself to be in the presence of great people.
Well, it takes one to know one.
But, 2024 has been a time of great transition for me. A lot of challenges presented themselves to me in 2024, actually coming out of 2023 into 2024. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, these challenges have stretched me. They have put me in positions where I haven't been before. So it caused me to kind of, as they would say, dig deep inside of me to find out what this was that was happening to me, and it was transition.
Okay.
And so as I'm transitioning, I'm seeing things from a different lens, from a different angle, and it's all good. And many people would maybe shy away from some of the things that they're faced with in life. But at this point, I'm looking at hitting them head on.
Yeah.
You can't dance around it. You can't avoid it, but it's there.
Yeah.
So it presents itself. And so what do you do when challenges present themselves to you? You arise and you take the challenge on.
Well, you started identifying the challenge. You said there was transition. I mean, we start calling it what it is.
Yes.
Change is a challenge. Transition is a challenge.
Yes.
Loss is a challenge. Gaining new responsibilities is a challenge.
Absolutely.
Delving off into new territories. So you said you begin to face them head on. Let's talk a little bit about that, because most people shy away from challenges. Most people say, I don't want to face that, or Lord, give me strength, or Lord, deliver me out of.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So instead of, wanting to move away from the challenge, I knew that this was something I had to do because of where I'm going next, not where I am now. Many people are complacent with where they are now. And so I'm not the one that wants to stay where I've always been. I wrote something the other day and I posted it on LinkedIn, and it was to the fact that if you continue to look at something that you always seen, then you will always see what you've always saw. But in order to have fresh vision, you have to look at something new in order to challenge your old vision.
Wow.
And so this is where I am now. I want to see something new. I want to, as you would say, grow. But in order for me to grow, I have to make that transition. And so one of the biggest transitions that I was faced with in 2024 is when it comes to career-wise. And so where I've been in my career for the last 29 years, it's been a comfort zone for me.
Sheesh.
And so now I'm at the point where I'm being stretched and pulled away from what I've always known to leap into something that I don't know, that I'm not so familiar with.
Right.
And it's on one hand, it's a little scary, but on the other hand, it's very exciting.
Well, there's always a lot of news. You know,
Yes.
the 29 years is not a new job, right? You've been in that job for a little while.
Yeah.
But you're in a new season.
Yes.
New season, old job.
Yes.
Time for something else. And you seem to be pretty consistent. I mean, to be 29 years in a job, one, you're not that old. So you started early, right?
Very.
And it's a government position, right?
This is true.
So now it's time to make some transition into doing what it is that your kingdom purpose avails you. Let's talk about that, because you've written a book and a workbook to go along with this, and I know there's much, much more to follow. But maybe 2 years ago, I think it was during the COVID era.
Yes.
Remember the COVID era?
Absolutely.
You wrote a book, Drawn Out for a Purpose, and that's discovering God's divine purpose for your life. I'm sure that you got some reasoning behind this, but typically when we write, when we speak, when we train, when we develop, there is a personal experience. Share a little bit about that experience leading up to where you are now with this transition.
Sure. So at a place in my life where I felt things become kind of stagnant. I wasn't moving, wasn't progressing, and I knew there was more in store for me. But I just didn't know what it was or how to get to what I knew that there was more on the other side of whatever this was. And so in my journey to finding out what else God had in store for me, I began just to look at different avenues where I had been, the ideas that I had, places where I had dreamt of going, but did not necessarily have a plan or a roadmap on how to get there.
Sure, and these are both natural and spiritual places.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because listen, audience might just be all deep and stuff, and we're just talking. I mean, it's just two brothers talking about life,
Absolutely. And I think everyone at some point in their life gets to the point where they say, you know what, there has to be more. There has to be more than what I'm doing right now. There has to be a bigger place than where I am right now in life, and that's where I was.
Sometimes that security blanket of knowing that you're going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, knowing that your annual salary is going to be X number of dollars, and then also those of us who are bivocational, working in ministry as well as working in a secular setting, you can almost become autopilot, just kind of go through the motions. What unplugged you? What caused you to disconnect from the autopilot?
Well, I got to the point where I felt as though I wasn't growing. And I felt
so the challenge of not growing causes you to want to grow.
Exactly.
I got you.
I felt stagnant. There was just something inside of me saying, there's more. There's more. Again, not just spiritually, but even in the natural, there was more. And I needed to find out what that more was. So I began this journey of trying to find out and figure out what was my next step. Okay, what's in store for me beyond where I am right now?
Well,
this can't be it.
You do know you got listeners probably now going, okay, what is it? What's next? Even your wife, but he's probably like, what you talking about, Cisco? No, listen, I've watched you, and we've known each other for many, many years, go through the journey of, growing up, being around all kinds of church stuff, ecclesiastical stuff. But like you said, there's more. And that's not to downplay that great kingdom assignment. It's not to downplay the cloth, as they would say. But I believe our multi-dimensional selves has had an opportunity to see that you can probably reach more people doing what you've been called to do in the earth than just simply staying inside of the fence. And that's for some that's a risky thing to say, hey, well, I'm going to take a leap and I'm going to do some things in addition to what's expected on, every Sunday, what's expected every midweek. And that's training, that's development. We've had a chance to do some work together.
Yes.
DISC is our thing.
Yes, it is.
And for those who may not know what DISC is, it's a behavioral assessment tool that's been used professionally for almost 75 years now.
Yes.
In helping people to understand their styles, superpowers, as Dr. E.T., shout out to Dr. E.T., superpowers, he would say, what your superpowers are. In fact, I saw him not long ago traveling to New York. We were both on the same flight, he and his wife, Dee Dee, and so got a chance to holler at him. But yeah, the DISC stuff we've done together and leadership development on a larger scale. Let's talk a little bit about that passion. Why do you do that?
That's a good question right there, because passion for me may look different for someone else. Because what I'm passionate about, I found myself getting a little upset, a little perturbed by people because they didn't share the same passion I shared.
Right.
My story is a little different when it comes to certain passions in my life. And I'll take a ministry. And I know this is not just ministry podcast.
Correct. But it's part of who you are.
Yeah. I just have this unprecedented passion for ministry. I love ministry.
Correct.
And I hear other people's stories saying, you know what, I ran from God. I didn't want to pastor.
Right. And I heard those stories.
Not me. I'm like,
car flipped over 3 times. They were in the hospital in traction for a year. And before they could utter a word, their mama said they had a dream.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not making fun of anybody's experience, but it has always humored me that you can't outrun him anyway. But why have to pin you to the mat before you say yes?
Yes, exactly. And so for me, it's more of, Lord, here I am.
Exactly.
I'm here, send me out.
In every area of your life.
Yes.
That's what I really want to focus on, because growth is not growth if you're just making advancements within one channel.
That's right.
If let's say physical fitness, for example, if you just work out, upper body and you have no leg day, you're going to have a problem, or if you only work out your legs and you do no upper body strength work, you're going to have a problem. So the well-roundedness of your passion goes beyond ministry in the pulpit to ministry among people.
Yes.
What's the goal? What are you reaching for to expand your ministry work?
Sure. So my overall goal is to impact nations and generations. And so with that, it is a plethora of plans, strategies that I'm looking to implement on every level, not just in the church, but even in the marketplace. There is a way that we need to conduct ourselves, a way that we need to be able to expand on who we are and what God has called us to do. And I like to use Joseph as an example, because Joseph, everything he learned outside of the church.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the church when he learned the skills of administration and all those things. And he didn't get stuck on one particular area or one gift.
Yeah.
Remember, he was noticed or recognized for interpreting dreams.
Yeah.
But he didn't stay there. Many people will say, okay, that's my call, that's my thing. I interpret dreams.
Well, there was a whole lot of pre-experience also in the making of this man. This man was a governor. He worked in what we would call judicial areas. He served as an administrator of resources. But his administration was the gift that was already in him. His ability to interpret was a gift that was already in him.
Yes.
His ability to be gracious, to forgive, and to go incognito, because he did that a couple times, that was already in him.
Yes.
It was his experiences that brought it out.
Absolutely.
So really, in essence, you can't be in the fulfillment of your purpose until you've had some type of experience to draw you out.
Absolutely.
Moses was drawn out of water as a
Absolutely.
result of, he could have been lunch for some crocodiles.
Yes.
But his purpose was more significant than what he was in. Yeah. When you look forward, and we're going to take a break in a minute. I just want to make sure our conversation, our dialogue, gives our listening audience something to, be hungry for, to come back and continue to listen to the Growth Exchange. And this is good, man. You've inspired me. When you look forward, because you're young now, I mean, think about it. How old are you? You're not even...
I'm 52.
What? 52. No, I'm messing with you, man. That's young. That's only half your
Yes.
life, right? That's only half. That's,
it.
if you go to 100,
Yeah.
plus. But the future holds so much opportunity. One of the things that I've been really investigating is this open door season that people are talking about. I do know that that's a dispensational word, that we're in an open door season, but that means opportunity.
Yes.
But it also means sacrifice, and it also means closing one door to open another.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that before we take our break.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people, they don't want to have to go through the test of, okay, I know what this door holds, but I see another opportunity over here. So do I close this door? Because sometimes you have to close the door on good things in order to get something that's greater.
Absolutely.
And we're afraid to close the door on the good thing because, again, we're comfortable and we're familiar with that. But the thing that's greater, that's on the other side, we have to make sure that we are in a position or in a place that we want to, or we don't mind sacrificing the good for the great.
Yeah, I don't mind sacrificing the good for the great. I like that. It was, I think it was Jim Collins that wrote Good to Great.
Yes.
That's another one of the tools or the instruments that we use in our training and development profession. This is what we're going to do. Let's take a break. When we come back from the break, let's talk about how there's this intersectionality between what we do professionally in the secular world of business and various fields, and then how it ties into our gifts and our calling. So, hey, stay tuned. We'll be right back here on The Growth Exchange with Dr. Terrence Lauchié. This episode has been brought to you by the Growth Center, Inc., celebrating more than 20 years of making a difference. The Growth Center's mission is to impact the community and the world through meaningful partnerships, which offer resources, life skills training, and other programs that strengthen individuals, families, and communities. The Growth Center is committed to developing a Christ-centered program that helps individuals grow in every area of their lives. It makes global impact, youth development, personal empowerment, financial fitness, and scholarship promotion. The Growth Center, Inc. at www.thegrowthcenterinc.org. Hey, welcome back. We've been talking a little bit about purpose and being drawn out. Cisco Duncan, or Samuel Duncan IV. How'd you get the name Cisco?
Well, that came from my father. He had a good friend in college.
That's right.
His last name was Cisco, and he always liked the name.
Yeah.
And so he put that on me. He slapped it on me.
I love it,
so
man.
Here we are.
It has such a multi-generational swag to it. You know, there's always Cisco kid.
There you go. Yeah.
So but listen, I think you were onto something. We were just talking about the next, and the now, and you got to let go of now in order to get to next. One of the illustrations that come to mind for me is somebody shared with me that if you were holding onto a rope, attempting to climb or to ascend that rope, you'd have to let go of the lower level in order to gain the higher level, and then you'd have to repeat it. You'd have to keep letting go to grab a hold. And I know that you are proficient in this. We said we were going to discuss the intersectionality of our growth in kingdom assignment in a secular world. Talk about how that has opened up to you, to be a trainer, a developer, a facilitator, an author.
Sure. When those two worlds intersect or collide, if they will, if you say, that people will say that they collide. I don't know if they collide so much, but they complement each other.
Absolutely.
And so when you bring kingdom assignment together with a secular assignment, there is a way, or there is a pathway that's made in order for you to be able to not just exercise a spiritual gift, which we all do that, but that same gifting will carry over into what we call the secular, and where they're able to merge the two together. Because when you think about it, what we've been called to do is not just contained for the four-wall building that we call church, but it has been given to us to take to the nations, out to the world, in order that God would be glorified in all that we do.
Sure.
And so I came up with a definition for the word purpose.
Okay.
And it's kind of my own rendition of what purpose is.
It's in the book.
Yes.
Right.
And so purpose is the innate and inherent ability to manifest the characteristics of God in your life. And so in order for us to be able to show forth purpose, we don't always have to go out and let people know, hey, I'm a child of God, or hey, I'm saved. They're able to recognize that through our action.
So the ability to manifest innate and inherent.
Yes,
the innate and
inherent ability to manifest the characteristics of God in our life.
Okay, so then that means our purpose is not just simply to be, it is to be with the intent of pointing people toward a God expression.
Exactly.
Which points toward unique and individual giftings and talents, because you could have chosen any other thing.
Sure.
I think you were a sportsman in college, you're an athlete, you could have chosen that route.
Sure.
And while you try to maintain a certain level of physical fitness, that's not one of your highest priorities. Now, your priority is developing people.
Yes.
Yeah, let's connect that too, because that's growth.
It is. And so it's, a part of what we do, not just in church, but even in the natural side, we are always building, we're always influencing someone in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
That's true.
And so when we look at it, what sort of influence do we want to pass along to the people we come in contact with?
Oh, that's what John Maxwell was saying, that influence, that leadership is nothing more than influence. It's
That's it.
Nothing more, nothing less.
That's it.
And I think about some of the greats, Stephen Covey and Les Brown and John Maxwell and Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and all these people. I put your name right there in that group, of Samuel Duncan IV or Cisco, the orator, speaker, trainer. But your philosophy around purpose, I think, is worth reiterating. Reiterate to our audience and those that are listening how to discover God's divine purpose for your life. How do you dig into that?
Wow.
Because there's people want to know, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, I got to find my purpose.
True. And I think what happens is sometimes we get the wrong ideology of what it means to find our purpose. And I think sometimes we think we can sit down, we can read a book or take a master class or whatever the case may be. And
or somebody can tell you.
Yeah. Or
a prophet can
exactly.
tell you.
And we know just like that what it is. But no, it's more of a process. It's more of a lifelong journey that's intricately involved in you discovering and finding out divinely who you are. Finding out divinely what it is that you have been birthed and born to do. Yeah. We all have been born to, and I think we've all heard this before, to solve a problem. We've all been born to be the answer to someone's question. Sure. And so we have to find out exactly what that is. And able to find out what that is, we have to take the time. Many people don't want to take the time these days to discover what that is. We want the microwave purpose.
Well, I think one of the greatest challenges is people not looking for their own unique purpose, but rather comparing their likes and dislikes or similarities to someone else and wanting to improve upon it. I heard somebody once say that they were going to be better than someone else, or they identified somebody else's accomplishments, and they says, well, I'm going to top that. And that is just so far off center from what it is that God put us here to do. I tell my grandkids oftentimes now, I can say grandkids, you said tell my kids, my grandkids, I tell them, be the best you, be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And that way no one can replicate that, but you will also be a step ahead of the game because everybody's trying to be like someone. And that's a misinterpretation of influence as well. My influence is not to make somebody like me. My influence is to make opportunities, environments, or spaces where people can be the best version of who they are.
Yeah. And you said something so good right there that so many people are trying to be like somebody else. Yeah. That's really almost an insult to your uniqueness.
It is. Now we could pick up processes, we can pick up maybe even strategies, but when it comes to being uniquely you, that's already taken.
Yes. That's to me, that is the prize. Yeah. Is that you are unique in and of yourself. Now we have some similarities, absolutely. Both of us are pastors. Both of us have done consulting work and things like that. So there's a lot of similarities. However, your unique gifts, skills, talent, and those sets of abilities that you have causes you to be unique in and of yourself.
Sure. In addition to personality.
Yes.
One of the things I also found in these years of doing this training and development is that personalities are usually lifetime experiences.
Yes.
You don't change your personality.
No.
You can change your behaviors. You can change the environment. You can change the culture of the space that you're in. You can even change really your approach, maybe attitude and the way you look at things. But personality goes with you. And I think that that's the unique gift. I think that once we start to master the strengths of our personality and begin to work in developing where our personalities might be challenged, we can draw out, the real purpose of us being here.
Yes.
I want this show, and I'm just sharing this with you, just in case somebody's listening, this podcast to be a space where people can talk. And I want you to come back and continue. In fact, if ever I need, a sub to co-host, you can handle it.
Absolutely.
But I want somebody to hear that everything presents us with an opportunity for growth. Whether they are good experiences or negative experiences, we have an opportunity to grow. What would you say to listeners in facing those quote unquote challenges of growth? What's the steps? And there's some stuff in here for that too.
Yes.
But what are some steps for approaching that growth opportunity?
Yeah. So, number one, I would say, to approach those sort of challenges is to just do exactly that. Go for it. Yeah. Go for it. Many people
run toward it, don't run from it.
Exactly.
Okay,
run head onto it.
Yeah.
Again, many people, we see the challenge, we see the opportunity, and we get within our own mind and we begin to say, how do I make it happen? What's the next step? I need a plan first. And sometimes you don't need a plan.
Or some people are scared. They just go, I can't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we don't know what we can't do until we try.
True.
And the old adage says, try, and try again.
Yeah.
So keep trying until, you get a result.
In modern vernacular, is fail forward. That's what they say, fail forward. Yeah.
And so I believe it was Les Brown that says the graveyard is the wealthiest place on this earth.
Sure.
Because many people have died with these things stuck within inside of them, and they were either scared to release them or, whatever hindrance came their way, they weren't able to get out of them that which was in them.
Sure. So your first step is step. Take the step.
Exactly.
Leap. Go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. What would be the next thing?
The next thing is to begin to find your community, find your tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you get out there and who else is doing this too?
Yeah.
Who else can I lean on? Who else can I yoke up with to get that support?
And not necessarily competitors, but
No.
compatriots, people who are doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The true meaning of success is not you arriving. It's you helping someone else to arrive.
Yes.
And as a result of it, you get to taste success. So I like that. And then so run toward it, find your tribe, and then after that?
Then after that, begin to duplicate the successes that you do have.
Okay.
Yeah. So we all have some successes along the way. Find out what we did to achieve that success, and let's duplicate it and do it again.
So in essence, it may require some documentation or at least observing patterns. It's
Absolutely.
like, hey, that didn't work, so I probably shouldn't do that again.
Absolutely.
This is working, so I'm going to continue to repeat that. There is also the risk of getting stuck in repeated cycles thinking that it's working when conditions change. So how do we address that? If, I find out what's working and I'm trying to work it and I'm working and it stops working.
Yes. So when it stops working, even before it stops working, we have to be so progressive in our thinking and in our vision. We have to know when we start this thing, eventually it's going to change, it's going to evolve, and we need to make sure that we're able to move forward with the changes as they come.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. What would you say, are there any more steps involved?
No, that's pretty much
I want to add one. What if another step would be learn how to celebrate the victories?
Okay.
Once you've gotten to one level of success or you've achieved one set of goals or you've arrived to one spot, celebrate.
Yes.
Appreciate and celebrate, but then also be prepared to move on knowing that here is not there. I share that often, and I borrowed that from, the prophet Elijah, was told to get up and go there.
Yes.
And it's like, where is there? Where is there? Well, there is definitely not here.
This is true.
And so even though we've arrived to a certain level of success, we need to move forward. So where's your next there?
My next there. Oh, man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I thought I just slipped that
Yes.
in, bring it back around to,
So my next
You can talk in code, I understand.
So my next there would be making that complete transition from my everyday 9 to 5
Okay.
into what I call the place of passion.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that.
So moving from there to here, or from here to there.
Okay.
And so, again, we don't know always what the middle road looks like. We know where we are now. We know where we want to be, or where our target goal is to be. But it's always that middle piece that's unsure, that's kind of, up in the air. So we
Sure.
kind of sometimes have to feel our way through it, but,
I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. I've watched you grow, and I've seen you be consistent in your thinking. I think you are a Gen Xer, probably, right?
Yes.
You're an Xer, not a boomer, not a millennial. But we're going to take a break, and we're going to close this out with just words of insight or wisdom that may give somebody this passion to get up and go. What do you want to say to them?
do it.
Yeah.
As Nike would say, just do it. Get up and go. Go get what you have in front of you. Whatever your passion is, go for it.
Well, listen, you heard that from one of the very best, and that is none other than Cisco Samuel Duncan IV. You are moving into that place of passion. I'm here for it. I'm definitely willing to help you in any way that I can, by way of example or support. I'm part of that tribe that you
Yes.
talked about finding, and definitely at the finish line waiting to help celebrate your victory. So to
Look
you and
forward
your
to it.
family, the girls, I see success happening all over them. That's multi-generational
Yes.
success.
Thank you. Yes.
So thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Growth Exchange. I'm Dr. Terrence Lauchié. It's been a pleasure to have these conversations and dialogues with our guests. If you notice, one thing we all share in common, and that is the ability, the desire, and the potential to grow and maximize our fullest potential. So keep tuning in. Share this with somebody, like it, maybe even invite somebody. And if you'd like to be a guest, contact us with the information that's here and available for you. Let's grow.